tomorrow night. Man, these Thursday night games are a treat, especially if the Broncos can pull off a massive upset, break the 15-game losing streak against the Kansas City Chiefs. I've got Todd Davis, Henry Chisholm, and yours truly here breaking it down. We're going to give our final picks. We're going to talk to Brian Baldinger. We're going to give our Whiteboard Wednesday the keys for the Broncos to win this game. And we're also going to hear some interesting comments from Sean Payton. We have an action-packed show, but I was going through some old files and found a picture that we just have to pull up here. Look at this picture from 2018.
Wow. You guys look so good together.
I look thrilled to be interviewing you. You look so happy to be talking to the media. We've got a picture of Todd Davis doing a little media scrum at his locker.
Dang, I feel like I look so different from that. I don't know if it's true, but you see old pictures, you're like, I don't look nothing like that anymore. That's crazy.
What were you saying to get that look from Zach?
I don't even know, man. I was probably saying something positive. And he was just like,
Exactly.
He was like,
Yeah, we got the Chiefs.
In like late December, positivity from players.
Well, just Zach, man, I played for Sean Payton, and I really enjoyed it until I don't like it.
So, having watched a couple of these podcasts, Yaya is speaking without a mic still.
No,
we haven't called him on
lying.
it.
He's
That's
lying.
a lie. That's a lie. I will go back and show you the audio. I have. There's very one or two times I haven't, but I have had a mic on. And if you don't believe me, people even in the comments are like, "Oh, yeah, coming in hot," because my mic was too loud.
Okay,
Let us
still
know.
not
Let
great.
us know in the comments right now.
If you're gonna talk, turn the mic on. Rule of podcasting.
Yeah, here, we want to hear you.
Yeah, I know. I've been having my mic on. That's the thing.
Oh my gosh, Jose says no. The
We
mic
don't
is
trust
not
Jose.
on.
We don't trust him.
Oh, I trust Jose. Jose is the man. Okay, so let's dive into some football talk today.
Yes.
Todd, we spent over an hour yesterday talking about how the Broncos are going to make some moves.
Yep.
Could it be Justin Simmons, Frank Clark, Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, all of the above? Then an hour later, we talked to Sean Payton, and he tried to put the kibosh on that talk. Let's hear what Sean had to say. When asked simply about the trade deadline being 3 weeks away, he was asked, trade deadline 3 weeks away, do you and George Payton start having these conversations now? Here's what Sean had to say. Oh, wow, I tried to buy you time by extending it you here. Come on. Wow, no mic, not ready. Jeez. Oh, my gosh. How much longer can I buy time for?
I know, it's kind of...
Wow. There we go. That's all I need to hear. Oh, wow. We're listening to Spotify now? Wow, this is tough. And then Henry's just sitting here, quiet, not helping me out.
Oh, I can talk.
I'm just in the dark right. Oh, here we go.
Trade deadline. What does the balance look like in terms of the time you spend with George, just evaluating the landscape and what could be out there for you?
Yeah, look, generally speaking, and I appreciate it's a good question. George and I talk every day, 3-4 times a day. We're not looking to do business with any of our players. That doesn't prevent teams from calling at times, and so, we just, you pick the phone up, but that's kind of where it's at. And, we've got a good handle on this current roster and then our vision for the roster a year from now. And that's the part about improving and getting better. But, until you just said it, I wouldn't have known it was 3 weeks away. I mean, 3 weeks seems like an eternity right now. So,
Coach, how
All right, let's put him through the lie detector test. Todd, is he telling the truth?
I think there's a lot to be taken from that, because even with his comment, like, we're not looking at players, but it doesn't stop teams from calling and it doesn't stop us from picking up the phone. I think that means maybe we're not actively looking, but if we got a phone call that was intriguing enough, I think that, maybe something happens. And if that's his stance, I understand, he doesn't want to trade any players. I just want to kind of understand the plan from how we get from where we are now back to like a Super Bowl caliber team if we're not making moves to get players, picks, or capital.
Yeah, and to me, I think the other piece is they're not trying to trade anybody right now because he has 3 days to figure out how to beat the Chiefs, Like, a short week is a tough time to be going through and saying, I'm just going to call up, 10 or 15 of my buddies and see what they think Garrett Bowles is worth. Like, You got a really tough game, and you've got almost no time to prepare for it. Meanwhile, you've got 10 days off starting Friday. And so that to me kind of makes sense that you wouldn't really be like working the phones with this time when it's super easy just to do it over the weekend.
And unless there's a disgruntled player, like I think we've seen, obviously Randy Gregory a little bit there, and then also who was the wide receiver? Chase Claypool. He was not in the building at all. They sent him home, so he was disgruntled. You don't see trades happen until like a week before the trade deadline. So when Sean says 3 weeks away feels like an eternity, in the NFL, that is true. And in terms of trade deadline, that is true. That's so far away. You would rarely ever see a team do a fire sale 3 weeks before the trade deadline because you want to see if other teams are going to come in and match offers and do things. But Todd, I think you hit it on the head. Right now, and Henry as well, right now, Sean and George aren't calling every team trying to trade all of their players right now, and it doesn't stop teams from calling. So Sean, I don't think is I don't think that there was any other way he could have answered that question.
Yes.
Because if he says, yeah, we are looking to do moves and we're looking to do business, you know what that does? It makes players maybe not play as hard. It makes players say, what are you talking? We got a game in 48 hours and you're talking about trading us?
Exactly.
And then on top of that, it drives players' trade values down because if a team is willingly and knowingly selling all their players, well, then you know that you don't have to give up as much. You got to keep that hard bargain. So I think this was Sean playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
so too.
No coach is gonna say we're going out there and trading a bunch of guys right now. Like it's there. I feel like there isn't too much to learn from it because of that. Like he said what you would say in any situation. It's just the right answer, which Sean has not always given.
Yeah, it's definitely the right answer. And I think, oh, your mic's on.
Oh, he wanted us to see that.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there's definitely more to every story, and there's two sides to every story. And just like kind of in the offseason, I think there was kind of hushed trade kind of rumors, but then we come in here like later on, they were very actively shopping guys at times. I mean, they're not going to tell us everything that's going on, but I think there is movement or thoughts.
Yep. I think so too. And speaking of disgruntled players, some people mentioning in the comment section, Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Obviously, there's been some interesting things happening on social media with Jerry Jeudy's Twitter. I think he's been calling some media members out for the way they've talked about him. Courtland Sutton, a lot of media members have said that he hasn't, they don't think he's been trying and giving full effort in games. And if that continues tomorrow, then maybe we are at a point where Friday or next Tuesday, the Broncos do make a move if one of those guys does seem disgruntled. But I don't think big trades are going to happen until closer to that trade deadline, which is Halloween, which is the Broncos bye week, which is right after the Broncos play their second game against the Chiefs. And it would honestly be criminal if the Broncos are 1-7, meaning they lose to the Chiefs, the Packers, and the Chiefs again before the bye. It'd be really bad if they don't make a couple of trades at 1-7, especially Todd, like you're saying. Sean says we have a vision of what we want our team to be a year from now. He didn't say, and that includes all the guys on this roster. But if they do have that vision, I hope it's different than what this roster looks like right now, because they could be 2-6, 1-7 at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think the vision is very different than what we have in the locker room now. And like you said, if they were 1-7 or 2-6, they definitely have to make some trades. And I would hope they did it then, because as we've seen even since the start of the offseason, if we had traded guys then, I think we would have got more than we will get now. And I think if we just wait now until the end of the season and we have, you know, a really terrible season that's just going right now, I don't think teams are going to be clamoring and giving us all they have for, you know, guys from a quote-unquote losing season.
And that's the other piece of trading somebody right now. Like, who wants Jerry Jeudy right now? Like, if you're selling him right now, you're asking for, like, what, a 6th-round pick? Like,
we said a fourth. We said a fourth.
Is that what you decided?
Yeah,
okay.
we decided on
Yeah,
fourth.
but I mean, like, he hasn't really done much. He was one of the tough one with the game grades. And it's like, yeah, he has 3 catches for 50 yards. 2 of them were, like, 3rd down conversions in the 4th quarter, so you give those more weight. So, I don't know. But the point is, like, when a guy's playing like that, like, you don't trade him now. There's just no reason. Like, right now, especially because you have, like, your Super Bowl tomorrow. Like, tomorrow is the biggest game of the season. Like this is your one opportunity. Like there's 4 things that you want to get done this year. Like you wanted to have your first winning record. You want to make the playoffs. You wanted to end the streak to the Chiefs. You wanted to end the streak to the Raiders. Tomorrow's like the chance to do one of those 4 things that you want to get done. And like you'd be crazy to think they're actually going to do it. But like with that on the line, it would be insane for them to be working the phones right now and not trying to like have something positive come out of this. Because I'm sure like if you look back through Twitter, I bet for the past like 6 months there have been people saying, if we just beat the Chiefs this year, the season's a success. I wouldn't have said that, but I'm sure that those words have been spoken together by Broncos fans at some point. And you have that on the line tomorrow. So like the idea that you would be like going behind the scenes trying to change things at this point, that you gotta be focused on tomorrow first.
Henry, I actually disagree with you, not about the Chiefs part, but what you said before, that you don't want to trade guys now because their value's as low as it can be. The way I'm seeing it is it's only going to get lower from
There's
here
no
right
way.
now.
Like you think Jerry's going catchless?
I don't have anything to look at and point to and say that Court or Jerry are going to finish the season strong. And if you trade them now, at least you're trading them to a team that wants them for this year, that values them. At least they get, 10 more games, 8 more games at the trade deadline with these guys on the team. So you get a 4th from Jerry now as opposed to in the offseason getting a 6th.
But that's different.
What?
Like I'm thinking like trade deadline. Because like you trade Courtland Sutton right now.
That's
He's
what
coming off.
I'm talking about trade deadline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he's coming off a game where he had 1 catch for 13 yards. Like his trade value is the lowest it's been in his career. Like
I don't think
unless he
anyone
goes
expected them
catchless
to-
tomorrow, it's
I don't think anyone.
it's probably not changing
I
all
don't
that
think
much
that,
anyway.
Yeah, I don't think the
Yeah.
value's changing
Yeah.
much. I think it is what it is.
I think it's a tough situation because for both those guys, they're talented, but the Broncos offense isn't necessarily using them as like key weapons. Like,
Yeah.
So I think it's not really like a thought process that they're going to have like a monster game this next week because they haven't had a game with even 10 targets, 8 targets.
Yep.
They haven't had one of those games. So if they could, just for themselves, if they can be put on a team where they could be a big piece to somebody's championship ring, it's better for them. Like it's not a knock
Definitely.
on them for them to go somewhere else. It's a much better situation. And I think it just works out better for everybody. And they would get more burn. They would get more opportunity. And they're like a piece now, more so than just
Well,
a guy catching, 3 balls a game.
Yep.
I was thinking about like Justin Simmons. Imagine him going to a new team. Like if he goes to a team that has secondary problems, and now all of a sudden you have Justin in the middle of that defense. Like it's easy to look at it Madden wise and say like, oh, well now you have like this guy who's pretty good in coverage, like makes a couple plays against the run. But the big thing is he's just so smart. Like he's seen every route concept, he's seen every formation. All of a sudden he's out there calling out like, hey, watch for this, watch for that. And if you're a team that has like young corners, that is such an invaluable piece to have, and I do think that for him, for all these guys, like why would you not want out? And the answer is like, maybe you have a house here, family here, like the hassle of moving. There's those sorts of things, but I would be happy for whoever gets traded at this point.
Oh gosh, Henry, when you talk about Justin, you say, man, for a team to get him that's having issues in the secondary would be so helpful. To put him around young corners, I'm going, that's what the Broncos are. They're struggling secondary.
but he
and
missed
that's
games.
with Justin.
But-
They have young corners. And,
Yeah.
and it's just like.
And they gave up 70 without him.
I
though.
agree.
Yeah.
And it would suck to see Justin go. It's just like, man, it's so painful when you think of how bad the defense already is and then losing a player like that. But we talked about it yesterday, just why you would make these moves. And you guys mentioned some big pieces. The Broncos might be getting big pieces back. And let's talk about that and jump into the keys to beating the Chiefs, a.k.a. the Broncos Super Bowl tomorrow, after I tell you about our friends over at Spirit Hound, where that is made right here in Lyons, Colorado. It's award-winning whiskey. In fact, they won the 2022 Whiskey of the Year at the London Spirits competition, and you can find them in over 40 states, including, of course, right here in Colorado. They have a new tasting room here in the Highlands if you want to go and get some mixed drinks with their great spirits, or you can find them in so many liquor stores. In fact, I bought one of my friends a gift of Spirit Hound, and he absolutely loved it. So make sure to check out Spirit Hound, and when you're at the liquor store, make sure to look for it.
And if you're getting ready for winter and need to make sure that your roof is covered, make sure you're checking out our friends at Red Hawk Roofing. They are Denver's best roofers, and they have now joined the DNVR team. They have quality materials. They have decades of experience. They're available 24/7. They respond quickly. If you're looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com and tell them that DNVR sent you.
All right. Okay, now, next, we've got to talk about some big pieces the Broncos might have back. Yesterday, Sean Payton said Greg Dulcich is close to returning to a game, and he didn't even rule him out for tomorrow's game, which to me is wild. And also, another one, Javonte Williams was close to playing this past week. Sean said that if it was a playoff game, that Javonte probably could have been able to go, but talk about two big pieces for the Broncos offense.
Very big, very big. It's interesting because I wonder how they use these guys. Like, we expected them to use a lot of different players a lot of different ways. Javonte was playing really well, breaking tackles, but I feel like McLaughlin has kind of stepped into this role where he's going to need some more touches too. So that takes away from Samaje and Javonte's touches. And, we haven't really utilized the tight end a lot, throughout the season. So there's a new game plan coming with Greg Dulcich, and now we have a lot of double split, tight end, expanded routes and concepts to really get him open. It's interesting, man. I'll be definitely watching to see how they use these guys when they come back.
I agree.
Having Dulcich back would be huge. And that's a crazy thing is like having Javonte back. It's like, yeah, that'd be cool. But like you said, Jalil's been so good. I want him getting most of the touches, and Javonte with where he was at in his recovery, the difference between him and Samaje, like, not huge, so it'll be good to have Javonte back, and definitely like happy for him and all that sort of stuff. But having Greg back is really big because that's, to me, one of those like key pieces to the offense, is that move tight end, a guy you can put in the slot. I think some people have been upset with how much Lil Jordan Humphrey's on the field, but a lot of the time I think that they're using him in place of Dulcich. In a lot of ways, those are very similar players. It's like that Sean Payton like spectrum of skill position players where it's just like you have your blocking tight end, you have like your hybrid fullback, you have like the kind of well-rounded tight end, and then you have Dulcich, and then you have Lil Jordan who are like, put him in the slot, you can run behind him, but Greg is just like he's one of the few weapons that they have. With the way that Sutton and Jeudy played, like you just need somebody who can work the seam right there.
Well, especially the lack of involvement the wide receivers have had with this offense for multiple games now. I mean, Courtland Sutton doesn't get his first target in the game until or doesn't get his first catch until 2 minutes left in the game. That was the second target of the game. Up until that final drive, I think, or one of the final drives, Jerry Jeudy had 3 catches for 5 yards, and it was Adam Troutman and the running backs. And no disrespect to Adam Troutman, if he is like your number one target, you need to have a little more juice there at the tight end position. And so Greg brings that. I hope he doesn't play tomorrow, though. I hope he does not, because he's coming off a hamstring, a guy that deals with lingering hamstring injuries, and his first practice was yesterday. I know it's a big game for...
one of few.
It's a big game for just, I guess, how you feel. It's not really that big of a game,
It's
though.
definitely a big game, I think.
No, because
I'll push back.
In terms of like where the season's at, I don't think so.
It just changes the vibes, though. Like the whole locker room would be totally changed if you go and win this game.
But
ending that streak.
Realistically, like, what are our chances that Greg Dulcich comes back and gives us 20 points and now we can beat the Chiefs? Like,
See, that's
the difference. That's what we're talking about. Like, is it really like a big game for him to come and step up and play? I don't know.
I agree they'll still lose with him, but
then it's not worth it.
But then what are you saving him for if not this? Like, you might as well just rest him the rest of the season,
I just think, I think that he had hamstring injuries last year and it popped up again. You got to make sure that's ready to go. But we are having our guest Baldy on just a second. So we've got to race through Whiteboard Wednesday. We're going to talk about the game after we talk with Baldy too. But let's hit Whiteboard really quick. And we got about a minute for every single one of these. So we're going to have to hit these. All right, here, let's pull it up. First one, 0, none, nil. And I'm talking about, this is crazy, but for the Broncos to win, they have to keep Patrick Mahomes out of the end zone. He cannot have a passing touchdown because the Chiefs are on a 27-game win streak when he has at least one passing touchdown.
Dang.
Is that insane? And that's a very hard thing to do. His over-under for touchdowns in this game is set at 2.5. So you're going to have to do something that Patrick Mahomes doesn't often do, and something that the Broncos have struggled with, keeping guys out of the end zone, but that red zone defense is going to have to be key. The Chiefs haven't lost a game when Patrick Mahomes has had a passing touchdown since December 12th, 2021. So that's why. Keep him out of the end zone. That's a big one right there.
Big one.
All right, next key is burn the boats.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this is that everybody knows that story about the army captain in like the 1500s who got his men off the ship and burned the ships behind him. Like the only thing we can do now is go forward. Like that has to be the Broncos mentality. There's nothing bigger than this game. There's nothing bigger after this game. You have to be full force into this game, and that's the way they win it. The guys have to play with like their hairs on fire. Like this is the last game of the season, like you said. Like it's the Super Bowl. They have to burn the boats. They have to move forward, and they have to try and win this game.
And really quick, I've seen a lot of, when it was the Bears game, when it was the Jets game, I've seen a lot of Broncos fans talk down to those teams and be like, well, that was your Super Bowl. Congratulations on winning that in week 4. When's the Broncos Super Bowl? When are they going to have that game where they show up? And you could be right, Henry. It could be this one.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win. Like, I mean, how could you think that they're going to win? Like, they're probably going to get their asses kicked. But it's all they have is this game. Like, there's this game, the next game, and the Raiders game. Those are the 3 games that actually kind of matter.
Yeah. I think at home against the Chiefs will be just a little bigger.
Yeah, I mean, either way, a win is massive. Either way, I mean, could you imagine a world where we talk about Chiefs game when we aren't talking about the streak? Like, that's what's on the line here. Is there's no more like, yeah, they've lost 15 in a row. It's impossible. Like, all offseason I was saying there's no way in hell I picked the Broncos to beat the Chiefs regardless. And, like, obviously, given the way the season's gone, you still don't. But that stuff is dead. Like, you win this game, all of a sudden, the Chiefs are just another football team. That's just another human football team. And that's a big place to be going into next year.
This may be like the AFC Championship because I think this is a short week. Very good team, very good offense. Maybe the game at home is the Super Bowl because that'll be a realistic shot at knocking them off the throne. You have a full week to prepare.
Yeah.
I think that's their best opportunity.
So.
The thing is, I don't think that one's realistic either.
So is next week against the Packers, is that the bye week in between the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because who cares what happens there? We might as well just study Chiefs film that whole week.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit the
They
next
were doing
one
that
here.
in the locker room. We can move on. We're in a rush. We'll talk about that later.
Let's hit this next one. Get off my lawn.
Yeah, they got to get off the field. Like, on third downs, that's what makes the Chiefs special. Like, that to me is what stands out. I mean, they're number 1 in third down offense. Like, they convert 63% or something. And you just have to find a way to get them off the field on third downs. It's impossible because that's when Mahomes gets to do all of his, like, superhero type stuff where it's like, oh, play's dead. Oh, no, he rolls out. Oh, no, he rolls out. And since it's a third down, it's like, might as well throw some crazy pass and see if it works because otherwise what? We punt? Like, we're losing the ball anyway. So that to me is going to be the thing. And I don't know. I mean, it's a football game. I feel like this is how they all come to. It's like third downs, red zone, turnovers, penalties. Like, you win those, you're good. But I think the third downs are the big one in this game.
Yep. That's a really good point. And before we go further, got to tell you about our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery. I think Henry, before the show, was saying, like, oh, man, all of Breckenridge beers are so good. You can't go wrong. And were you mentioning Strawberry Sky, too?
Yeah.
Just as always, Strawberry Sky season.
Yeah. Which I'm not sure if we have on tap. It's been a while since I need to talk to somebody about because we have most of them, but that's the one.
A fan favorite.
You know, I want to have like a couple before the game tomorrow, a couple during the game. We're not going to the game, so I don't have like a whole lot of writing responsibilities. I'm not on the pregame, postgame show, so yeah.
You're not doing an interview with Sean after.
Exactly. Like I was thinking about that. Like, again, the Broncos are not winning this game, but if they did, being able to write that story from the locker room, like, what's it like ending this streak, especially given the way season's going, that would have been nice. But they're not going to win anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Man, you keep saying that. I'm wondering if you're just setting up for a big turnaround when you give your pick, and you're actually going to have the Broncos pulling this one out.
We'll see.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Speaking of, come by the DNVR bar tomorrow night. We're giving away a Pat Surtain jersey at halftime, so make sure to come by. It's going to be fun. Maybe you'll get to see the Broncos pull off the big upset and hang out with us, get some Breckenridge Brewery. But if you can't make it to the bar, go to breckbrew.com to find the official beer of DNVR.
Oh, and also check out Splash Sports. Mostly because, sorry, I just got another notification. I tweeted out what the contract numbers would be and like what the Broncos could work it out to be if they traded Russ. And everybody's like, oh, then nobody wants it, blah, blah, blah. And everybody's like wrong. And I just got some Yahoo guy just quote tweeted. It's been like the worst thing. But yeah, so Splash Sports, it's a cool way to make money. You just gotta deposit some cash, and then you can enter DNVR's weekly NFL Pick X contest for $20. And the more people who enter, obviously, the larger the prize. There's going to be contests all week. You just pick the games, and there's actually some different contests too. But it's an awesome thing to go check out. So head to splashsports.com/DNVR to join in. We'll have different contests coming out, so we are stoked to compete with and against you all. Be sure to click the link in the description.
You know you're really off the rails when your here's bringing you back in, Henry.
Yeah, probably off mic.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying, yeah, because I'm not talking. I'm just saying my hand signals. You know, as a producer back here, like behind the stage, I'm trying to get you
Producer,
going.
you here. Do we have our guy
Not yet.
ready? Not yet?
Then why
Okay.
were you doing the hand thing?
Because you're talking about something that's not the ad read. We need to get going.
Wow. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
really
you're
keeping
under
us
fire,
on
man.
track.
Mike was off.
Guys, was the mic off for that dumb thing I just
Come
said?
on, you here? Come on, we're trying to get back
we
into
gotta
the
keep-
thing.
Who wasted
Come on.
exactly? Who wasted more time?
You did. Let's
That's
just go.
oh, now I use cross line there.
Well, let's go back into Whiteboard Wednesday until we got our guy Brian Baldy joining us. Black and white.
Yeah, this is a game for the Broncos. You're going to see a lot of vanilla. It's going to be black and white.
Yep.
It's going to be very, very simple. They had a short week to prepare. It's tough because the Chiefs do so much, but when you get them on a short week, you got to just be black and white. Second part of this is black and white. Shout out to the refs. We need some from you this game.
Yes.
We need a couple calls. We need a couple big plays from you. So help us out, man.
Especially the last time the Broncos were in Arrowhead, it was the opposite. Remember that Courtland
Yeah.
Sutton pass interference?
Yep.
Yeah, those calls need to go the other way.
Yes,
And
we
this
need
time.
that.
The crazy thing is the Chiefs are like almost the bottom of the league. Like they're bottom 5, I think, in penalty differential. Like they have been called for more penalties compared to their opponents than just about anybody in the league.
And I think
crazy.
that's the same as the Broncos, right?
No, wait, let me double
The
check.
Broncos, I don't understand. The Broncos have either their opponents have the most penalties called against them or the least.
Yeah.
Because it says like the Broncos' opponents are number 1 in penalties committed.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
because
the
the Jets had a lot last
So
week.
then that
Yeah.
means that, so
Yeah.
man, the refs have been helping the Broncos
Yeah.
out.
well, I mean, they've also called a lot on the Broncos, but yeah,
It's
so
true.
the Broncos are 6th in the NFL in net penalties, like in a good way. Like, so the opponents have been called for 6 more than the Broncos have,
Okay.
which is one of the best marks. The Chiefs are
What's crazy is the Broncos have been called for a ton too. They're
Chiefs,
bottom 5.
Chiefs are minus 10, which is 3rd from the bottom. So like
So the refs have been helping them?
no,
Oh.
Except for in the games.
Well, and that's the thing is like the eye test. You're like, oh, that seems wrong. But yeah, based on the numbers, the Chiefs are getting the worst whistle, and the Broncos are getting one of the best.
Yep. Well, I love that. Black and white. There we go. All right, let's hit the next one here. We've got man up.
Yeah, no more of just the crazy coverage. There's just so many plays that you go back and look at. Like there's one like it's like a 3rd and 4, and it's like cover 3. They've got everybody like pressed against the line of scrimmage. Meanwhile, Justin Simmons is like 20 yards off the ball, like deep stuff. And so it's just a little tight end, just runs right behind Josie out and in. And there's just like an acre of wide open grass right there that you've just left unaccounted for. The zone stuff, the off coverage stuff just doesn't work. These receivers are horrible. They're horrible. This might be the worst group of receivers in the NFL. Like, I don't even know who else would be in the conversation. They are awful. Like, Kadarius Toney, insane some of those numbers. He has like 83 receiving yards this season, 82 of them after the catch. He has done literally nothing. And he's arguably the best receiver. Like, he's kind of the number 1 the way they play him. They've got Kelce, that's an issue. Put Pat on him. Just man up, simple stuff. No more, don't let Vance try to like overthink things. Just go out there, play football, and you'll be fine.
I love it. And speaking of going out there, let's go out there and talk to our guy. We've got Baldy joining us right now. And before we hop into this Broncos debacle that's happening this season, Baldy, I've gathered some information that you might be the most interesting man. What adventure do you have up your sleeve this week? Oh, wait, Brian, we can't hear you. Wait. All right, producer's going to help us out here. Let's see. Yeah, here, do we have him? Oh, he's saying something
Wow,
good.
it looks so interesting too. I can just tell that this is good stuff.
Oh, no, you're here. Help us out here. Do we have him? Oh, my gosh.
He's checking if it's on his end.
No.
Oh,
It's
it's
not-
on his
it's not
end.
on him.
There's a lip read.
Yeah, here, come on. Let's There we go. Okay, we're good. Okay, Brian, we got you.
We're good now. Okay. All right. You're asking me about what adventure I have up my sleeve?
Yep.
Well, I'm doing the Jets-Eagles game on Sunday at MetLife Stadium. But I feel like Saturday morning, I could very easily be looking for these lemon sharks that are out near this reef off the coast of Fort Lauderdale. So that's what I hope I'm doing. I'm just observing some lemon sharks on this one reef.
See, that is incredible, especially for us living in Colorado. To hear that is that's like the biggest adventure ever. And yeah, I heard like
No
last
sharks.
week you went like a couple miles off the coast and we're doing just some deep sea diving.
Well, I
on
was
your own.
paddleboarding. I was paddleboarding last week. It was so calm, but I brought my I'm a free diver, so I just brought my free diving gear and just jumped in, just checking out some turtles and lionfish and just kind of exploring down there, a mile out.
What's like the best thing that you found? like in your whole life of like snorkeling and like whatever, like coolest animal like
Well,
sharks?
I mean, the coolest thing, honestly, are these Pacific mantas that feed at night on plankton. And so if you shine the light, in the water at night, it attracts the plankton, and then it brings all these Pacific manta, and they got a wingspan of like 20 feet, and so they're just like doing these acrobatics, just opening their mouth and just gorging themselves, and you just like swim freely in between them and just observe like just the natural beauty. It's pretty cool. You just got to do it at night, which is terrifying.
Yes.
You can't see anything. So that's the only that's the only part that you have to kind of get over.
Yeah, that seems like a
Wow.
pretty big part to get over. That is
Also,
awesome.
like the 20-foot manta rays
Yeah,
would be tough to get over for me, but
Well, we've been talking about how the Broncos could very well be looking at like a 1-7 record at the bye with 2 games against the Chiefs coming up, and then also the Packers. If the season keeps going this way, maybe we'll just turn this segment into the most interesting man in the world.
I got plenty of video. I'll be happy to share it with you guys.
Oh, we would love it.
if you had to compare the Broncos to some ocean creature, which creature would that be?
Well, think about whatever creature is out there right now that is the most defenseless creature. Is that a because they look defenseless, like they don't have any teeth in their defense at all.
Yeah.
So maybe like a nurse shark is kind of like a puppy. It really doesn't have teeth. You can go pet it. Like maybe it's just a nurse shark. It looks venomous. It looks like it could be mean, but it's not going to do a darn thing to you.
Man.
Oh man, that's tough. I hear you talk about
I know
sharks.
that
I hear
hurts.
you about the
That
talk
hurts,
about
but
the
you asked
ocean.
me for. I know that hurts, and I'm not trying to
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
tear the city apart. But you're asking me for some sort of analogy. That's what I came up with.
That's
No.
probably the nicest thing anybody said about the Broncos on this podcast this week.
Yeah, no, that's real. But I hear you talk about sharks. I hear you talk about the ocean. And then we heard last week or yesterday from James Palmer that you're a big Jaws fan. Is it about time to start playing the Jaws theme song on the Denver Broncos season?
Well. I mean, I'm sure that's what they're playing in Kansas City. Like that's the worst team that you could actually schedule. To try to get a win. Evidently, since I don't even know exactly the year. The last time the Broncos beat them, but I know Pat Mahomes, just the way Aaron Rodgers felt like he owned the Bears. I'm sure privately Patrick Mahomes is telling Taylor Swift that we own the Denver Broncos. And, it's up in a tweet somewhere, tomorrow night.
Yeah, that'll probably be in a song in a couple of years about their private conversations. And so speaking of this defenseless Broncos defense, Baldy, where do the Broncos go from here with this defense? And you can take it with tomorrow's game. You can take it in a long-term view. Just when the defense is this bad, I mean, they're the worst in the NFL against the run, 4th worst against the pass, most yards per play given up, most yards per game, most points per game. Where do you go from here to make things better?
You always go to the basics. So if you look at forget about Devon Achane and what he did the week before. But if you just look at Breece Hall's touchdown, the only touchdown the Jets scored all day. All right. But it was, there's so many things wrong with the play. The linebacker play, inside linebacker play was terrible. The outside defensive end jumped outside when he saw motion. Well, Justin Simmons was already out there. There was no reason to widen the hole even further. It wasn't a hole. It was a gorge. And so I don't know where, Kareem Jackson was on the play, but you're the free safety. Like you're the last line of defense. You can't let Breece Hall just hit the gas pedal. So just you start with the basics of just alignment, honestly. Like just give yourself a chance to defend that play. The play is like it's not a difficult play to defend. Everybody
Mhm.
that runs power football runs power O. You just don't see a hole like that. Literally, the fullback ran through the hole with nobody to block. There was nobody. I've never seen that play go that far without the fullback blocking somebody. Like, he literally had nobody to block. So if you say, okay, we're historically bad, we're not going to. You can't just go get 11 new players. But you got to play the defense. And so it starts with just basics, run fits, stopping the run, like just the basics of defense, tackling better in space, all those kind of things.
Yeah, we talked to again Palmer and Conklin, the tight end for the Jets. He said just based off the alignment, they knew that a run would go for 6 or 7 yards before they even snapped the ball. Is that alignment something they can fix from week to week, or is this kind of just how this defense is set up to be, and they kind of have to adjust and try to play better within it?
Well, it's probably on my board back there, but at some point, you just go to some basics in defensive football. If you step up, you clean it up. If you back up, you give it up. So if you're just going to back up, if you're just going to stay 5.5 yards off the ball at the linebacker position, and you're not stepping up to go meet, a double team, if you're not scraping over the top as soon as you see the left guard pull, like, read your keys. The guard's telling you where the play is going. So, I mean, I just think basic football, like, step up, like, it's a physical game. You got to play it that way. And I think there could be a lot that can be done by just analyzing some of these plays that are going for 100 miles right now against the defense, where a lot of them are preventable if you step up and clean it up.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, I mean, there's Benito was way too far outside. You've got the linebackers not kind of making up for it, not getting inside. But to me, I guess the question is, if I know everybody's screwing up, but if you could just improve the defensive line or improve the inside linebackers or improve the outside linebackers, like which group do you think you could? I mean, you obviously can't just actually go upgrade them, but where would you see a benefit if you could the most? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I always believe that you can stop the run if you want to stop the run. Like, it's a passing league, but it does start with the run. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco is going to get carries tonight, okay? Like, you can't let that kid get started. Like, you got to get that kid on the ground early, because the wheels don't stop. And you got to wrap him up. Like, he bounces off contact like a lot of the great backs do, and you can't let him get started. And so you say, okay, let's start with the basics. Let's play better run defense. Let's get off. Let's not stay blocked. Let's get off our blocks. Let's read our keys, and let's tackle. Like, let's just put that up on a bulletin board in front of the whole team and have everybody recite it. Like, all those players have played. I know Alex Singleton, like, he played in Philadelphia here. Like, he makes a lot of tackles. They're too far down the field. But, like, let's start with keeping the runs under 4 yards a carry. Let's just start with some basics.
To kind of start with basics and take a step back on where this team's at. Sean, when we talked to Sean Payton yesterday, he said he has a vision for where this roster is going to be in a year from now. From some basics, what does a Sean Payton roster look like? What is he looking for?
Well, he always had, there was 3 years in New Orleans where they were 7-9. And then they had a draft where they got really an all-pro right tackle. They got as good a right corner as there is in football, and they got Kamara. So they really fixed 3 positions. The offense changed immediately. But, I mean, it's not about speed at wide receiver. He's one without speed at wide receiver. It's really built really good in the trenches. At one point, he had Carl Nicks and Jari Evans at guard. Like, they were the 2 highest paid guards in the league. And their job was basically to create a fortress in front of Drew Brees every play. Like, Drew Brees never did what Russell's doing now. Part of it is that's how Russell plays sometimes, but he's running for his life out there. Like, it starts with building the best wall. Now, they went out and got 2 free agents. Like, obviously, McGlinchey is struggling. He's not in the 49er offense. Like, it doesn't look like it's a good free agent signing. But it does start with building a really good offensive line where your quarterback can actually go through progressions and have time to go through progressions. When that, Ramczyk was playing next to Jari Evans, I mean, that was a great right side. You could run screens behind it. You could take deep shots behind it, But, he won with receivers, Michael Thomas, guys out of Hofstra. Like, Drew Brees threw touchdown passes to 70 different receivers. Most of them never broke an egg once they left in New Orleans. It was Sean's offense, but it was because they were protected up front. And he never got very far away from the run game, ever. Like, Sean was never just pass happy. Drew Brees, if he saw a light box, they checked to a run. They ran the ball. That was on the quarterback. But that was all premeditated from the breakdowns of preparation during the week.
With McGlinchey, what difference do you see with him this year versus with the 49ers? Is it just that he doesn't have, the studs all around him? He's not having George Kittle help him with blocks. There's no chips from Kyle Juszczyk, or has he regressed in some way?
Well, he's getting exposed because, because they don't have the luxury of great play action and the luxury of having the best tackle on the other side where there's no leakage over there. McGlinchey could give up pressure, on the right side in San Francisco, and the quarterback had one guy to beat. If Micah Parsons was over there, in a playoff game or against Dallas, and McGlinchey had he struggled with him, let's say. Like, it wasn't like it was leaking from all over the place. That was one guy to go beat. Now it's leaking everywhere. And so, it compounds whatever weaknesses. You could see, like, Mike was frustrated the other day, with some of the things he did. Like, look, this Bryce Huff he's a Bugatti out there. Like, his takeoff is elite. And if you're not off, like, it's like for a right tackle or left tackle, if you're right tackle, it's like Usain Bolt running the 100-meter dash. Like, even Usain Bolt isn't winning the race unless he gets off to a fast start. So you got to get off to a good start, all right, to give yourself a chance against a guy like Bryce Huff, who screams off the edge and, can make you look bad. He can twist you up because he plays with leverage. He's fast off the ball and he can bend. So he gives a lot of people trouble. And, in Jermaine Johnson, I just watched it today up at the Jets facility. Like, his ankles bend like Gumby. Like, there's not many guys that have that ability to do that. And it gave Mike, who is a little stiff, it gives him, struggles out there.
A final one for you. How do the Broncos pull off this massive upset tomorrow night against the Chiefs? 10.5-point dogs. How do they break this 15-game losing streak?
Well, I'll be honest. Like, the Jets had them 20-20 late in the fourth quarter. They had plenty of chances to win the game. They didn't win it. Minnesota, like, honestly, if I don't know what Andy Reid was thinking, but they went for it 4th and 1 at midfield and threw a 50-yard bomb that they got a defensive pass interference penalty on. They got him an easy touchdown. Like, they didn't put Minnesota away. They didn't put the Jets away. Like, they're not this runaway freight train right now. And defensively, they are elite, though. Their two corners, L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie, they're as good a tandem as there is in football. Like, those guys, they'll get beat. They'll have a penalty. But, like, literally, they challenge every single route. They tackle everything that moves. Like, they're really good. And Chris Jones, like, he just ruined Minnesota's offense last week. Single-handedly, he ruined it. Like, he is a great, great player. And it's like, I'm in Philly here, so I talked to the guys this week. Like, Aaron Donald didn't make a play last week against the Eagles. But they put together a game plan where they literally, no matter where he went, what he did, they doubled him with Kelce all day long. Like, you got to have a game plan. And I know Sean has played against Aaron Donald before. He burns the midnight oil. Like, you got to have a plan for Chris Jones because he will ruin your offense. He's just that good.
Man, I love it. Awesome insight. We'll be looking for some pictures, or maybe next week we'll have a video of some 20-foot creatures there in the sea. Thanks so much, Baldy, for joining us.
Yeah.
We look forward to next week.
Yeah, enjoy the game tomorrow night. I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. See ya. Oh, man. Awesome insight.
Yep.
Todd, when you were down in the tropics this past week, were you doing anything like that?
Heck no. I'm not that adventurous. I snorkel maybe a little bit. I'm not seeing no sharks, no stingrays. Nope.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Just
I'll
seems
leave
like a
that to
bad
him.
idea. Like, because I know he says, like, those sharks don't hurt you, but I have no idea what the different sharks look like. It's like snakes,
Right.
honestly. Where it's like people say, like, oh, you're scared of snakes? Yeah, because they all look the freaking same.
Yes.
Like, that could be the one that kills you. It could be the one that doesn't bite. Meanwhile, like, you go out in the woods and see animals. It's like, oh, a deer, safe. A bear, not safe.
Right.
A squirrel, safe. Like, snakes, same thing with like anything in the ocean.
You
You
won't
just
win
don't
in the
know.
water. You can't win in the water.
No,
And I
no.
saw what happened to Steve Irwin. He deal with animals
Yes.
every single
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
And
he's-
still a
yes.
stingray came and go,
And he's like,
I'm
yeah,
not doing
20-foot
it.
manta rays are safe. And it's like, well, I guess that wasn't a 20-foot manta ray, but how do you know the difference?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it seems like the big ones should be scarier anyway.
Yeah, the only reason I'm okay with my cats is because I'm so much bigger than them.
Mm-hmm.
If they were lion size, I wouldn't
Wow.
be here today.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true.
Because sometimes they attack, man. Man,
I don't
that-
trust cats. Cats are finicky, man.
They
I
are.
don't do
That's
cats.
exactly-
Yeah.
Oh man, that was awesome insight. And did he give you hope for this game?
Well, he just told us that the Chiefs aren't, the best thing since sliced bread right now. They're not really playing the best. So, I mean, any given Sunday, right?
Yep. Any given
Yeah.
Sunday. That's what any given Thursday
Oh,
night
Thursday.
football.
Yeah.
Who did the Cardinals beat the Cowboys?
They did.
Like, once a week, there is something crazy that happens.
I
Again,
think there were 14-point dogs in that game
yeah.
too.
I mean, it is football. Like, we can play the game in our mind as many times as we want, but it doesn't really matter what you think is going to happen. Like, they get to go out there and either win or lose.
You never know.
I'd put a lot of money on them losing, but
So then, yeah, that's what you said. So here's my question, which I want you guys to think about. What are the odds the Broncos win? Because if they play this game 100 times, how many times do the Broncos win this exact game tomorrow night? And I want your answer after I tell you about DraftKings Sportsbook. And if you want to put a lot of money, like Henry, on this game, if you take $100 and put it over at DraftKings Sportsbook, just to give you an idea of what the odds are. If you take $100, put it on the Broncos to win, you're going to win $400. That's all they have to do is win, $400.
Yeah.
If you put $100 on the Chiefs to win, you know how much money you're winning, Todd?
$10.
Close, $18.69. That's just how big of favorites the Broncos or the Chiefs are in this game, but they have so many other bets over at DraftKings Sportsbook. You can get Jaleel McLaughlin yards. You can get Marvin Mims yards. Man, that one is so juicy to me. It's set at 18.5. It's like, that's one catch from him.
Yep.
But last week I got fooled. It was set at 23.5, and I was like, that's one catch for him. Turned out he wasn't on the field in the fourth quarter after his fumbling issues that he had. So that's one that I still really like. 91% of the money is on the Chiefs over at DraftKings Sportsbook. And if you want to do this and get in on the action,
91%.
yep.
And with those odds.
Yep.
Like, people are like, this is $100 to win $18, and
That could be on
people
the
are like, I
spread,
gotta
too.
get in on this.
It could be on the
Oh,
spread,
okay.
too.
Okay.
The economy is really bad, man. $18 can take you a long way.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be the opposite if the economy is really bad? $18 doesn't get you very far?
Yo, $18 is $18. I don't got
It's
$18.
true. $18 is $18. And if you want to turn that money into more money, use that code DNVR, and you'll get a $200 in bonus bets when you place a $5 bet on football. That's for new customers. Place a $5 bet to get $200 in bonus bets after using the code DNVR. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available. For problem gambling, call 888-789-7777. Visit ccp.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, licensee partner, Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/sportsbook/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
Also, there's a
Damn.
50% boost for the game, too.
Ooh,
So
how about that?
plus 400 is actually plus 600.
Wow.
$100 pays 600.
So you convincing yourself?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, wow.
No, again, you'd have to be insane to think the
Or-
Broncos are going to win this
Wow.
game.
But as order the Chiefs minus 400, it's minus 200.
Yeah, they're minus
that-
535. So you boost that to probably like minus 300, minus 350, something like that. I don't know. It's hard to do those reverse odds.
357.
357.
Bet $357 win 100.
So here's the question.
Not bad.
Tempting.
If the Broncos play this game 100 times, how many of them are they winning?
I'll give him 4.
4?
Yeah.
It's like a 96% chance the Chiefs are going to win for sure.
So then you would, if you're a betting man, you would like that minus 535 for the Chiefs.
Yeah. Go take out your life savings and go ahead.
Or
Why not? Yeah.
Henry, you higher on the Broncos?
No,
or
0. Like, again, I can't imagine how this happens. Like, having seen, like, I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to go for 250 yards. Like, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to throw 6 touchdowns. Like, I think Travis Kelce is going to, like, get married to Taylor Swift because she's not going to be able to like keep her hands off him after what he does. Like, that's just having seen what I've seen and knowing what I know about when the Broncos play the Chiefs. Like, how I can't imagine a world in which they win this game. Like, I don't know.
Wow.
Like, maybe Mahomes maybe it rains and the ball slips out of his hands and like he just fumbles like 5 times, I guess. But like, they're not winning.
I don't think they're going to win, but I think it's going to be closer than what people expect. It's the AFC West.
Yeah.
The games are always close. Even last year, they had an opportunity to beat
True.
them when they weren't a very good football team. It's going to be closer than what people expect, but I still don't believe it's going to be a win.
I guess I'm Mr. Brightside on this one. I'd say the Broncos win this 17 times out of 100.
Wow.
So the Chiefs still giving them very much the advantage here, but it's something that Baldy pointed to. This Chiefs team, in terms of like units, isn't. What are we looking at?
So I've just been hanging out.
We're happy that you're hanging out with us, Todd.
That's what the podcast is.
It's very true. We're
That's
happy
the
that all
point.
of you guys are hanging out with
That
us
means
too.
he's doing the best.
I'm not gonna lie. There's some really comments in here that you guys don't see all the time. That I'm like, I don't know if I should bring that up, but that's pretty hilarious.
Frame
That's
them.
funny.
Oh, there's a lot that I never want to see. And Yahir pulls them up every time. It's like, damn, Yahir.
Oh, I call people out on the comments. It's like just behind the screen. Like, it's cool.
Since we weren't able to do it when Baldy was on, we got to call you out, Yahir, for not letting Baldy talk for us for the first minute.
Yeah,
It
man.
wasn't
Jeez.
me. It's ECAM is having problems or system.
Who's in
set
charge
up
of ECAM?
Yeah. Don't
the
use
owners
ECAM
of
then.
ECAM? I'm not in charge
Then
of
don't
ECAM.
then don't use ECAM.
Then we don't have a show.
Well, that's on you. You gotta find a solution.
I mean, also, you shouldn't be commenting on the show while Baldy's talking.
There we go, Yahir. Yeah,
Oh.
it's true.
I shouldn't be plugging game grades. I should definitely be plugging the game grades.
This
I
is-
also-
Do it in your own time, not
he
our
brought
time.
He brought up like the missed assignments on the touchdown run.
Yeah.
I had spent like an hour trying to like figure out what exactly went wrong because like you look at there's like not enough guys in the box. Like guys are going the wrong way. It's like I was like just googling like okay, back to the basics. How do you defend a power run? And it's like I'm sure Nick Benito is supposed to like go inside, bounce it to the outside. Like that's the way it has to
It's
work.
supposed to all hammer back, and the linebacker has to get over the top. The only problem is when they run the power roll, traditionally the fullback leads the blocking through up after the guard.
Yep.
And sometimes what teams do to trick you is, one of your keys is the fullback. So the fullback is an eye, and normally if you're running to like the right side, he goes directly to the right behind the guard. On this play, they did what some teams do is they brought the fullback to the left and then gave him
Yeah.
time to get behind the guard. So everybody as linebackers, okay, now we're going to take a step to the left because
Yep.
we think the play's going left. By the time you look up, there's a 300-pound tackle barreling down on you, and you can't get back over the top of him. So that's what really happened.
That also explains why like all 3 defensive linemen like kind of took a step to the right, or at least were willing to go right. But then you throw in like you have the receiver who's lined up real tight in the slot. You've got the motion also, and so it's like okay, these diagrams are so simple, and I don't know. And I'm just happy it wound up. Yeah, Benito was way too far outside. Like some of the same things.
Henry,
that
you
was a
spent an
nightmare.
hour looking
An
at that. You
hour.
could have
I
called
was-
Todd for 30 seconds and got the
He was
answer.
in Barbados. Like I'm not going to
that's
bother
fair.
him in
No, no, no,
Barbados.
touche. That's fair.
Well,
That's
you know
fair.
what the craziest thing was? I was like, okay, gotta start over. How to defend a power run? Let's pull it up. Top video. Bobby Houck, Montana's football coach from when he was the head coach at UNLV. It's like just top 8. Like sometimes it's just a video pops up and I was like,
That's why you
That's
were searching for
Bobby.
an hour.
That's Bobby.
That video didn't teach you anything. What
I
happened?
learned a lot. Okay, he didn't last long at UNLV before he came back to Montana, but in Montana, that run defense, unbelievable. Except, yeah, it's unbelievable.
Except what, a 400-yard game they gave up or
Except for what
something?
Montana State did to him last year. It's like Scattaboo back when he was there too. Sac State. Ugh.
So one of the things that Baldy kind of pointed out, which I have noticed with this Chiefs team as well, they're not elite in any part of the game in terms of like pass offense, pass defense, run defense. They're top 10 at everything, but they're not elite. Now, you boil it down, Patrick Mahomes, an elite quarterback, obviously, but with the weapons he's throwing to, especially if Travis Kelce isn't playing tomorrow, that's not an elite pass offense. So that's how you beat the Chiefs, is they don't dominate you in anything. And then, of course, you got to put it up against the Broncos. And it's like, well, Patrick Mahomes can absolutely dominate the worst defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Isaiah Pacheco, especially with the Chiefs' offensive line, can absolutely dominate and be elite. But it's not like you look at the Chiefs and say, there is no way that we can stop that, or there's no way that we can score on them. They're really good all the way around, and this might be the most well-rounded Chiefs team that they've ever had, but they're not like impossibly unstoppable at anything.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, I just feel like it's tough because I do look at it and say there's no way we can stop that because we've made every team that wasn't even close to being elite or top 10 in any category look like they should be in the running for MVP, whether it's Washington, Chicago. I think even the Jets last week, they beat the Denver Broncos in every offensive statistical category, period. Rush yards, passing yards, like attempt, like accuracy, like they beat them in everything. And that was the Jets.
Yeah.
That was
It was
the
Zach
Jets.
Wilson who
Yes.
wasn't having
It was
a good
Nathaniel
season.
Hackett.
And Nathaniel Hackett. Like the one time we definitely can't have somebody go off on us, they still have 400 yards on offense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing is, so they have the terrible receivers. Those tackles have also been awful. Like Jawan Taylor with all the penalties, with the missed assignments also. Like Donovan Smith on the other side looks like he's like a 40-year-old man. I'm not sure if he is 40 yet, but he basically is. There are so many weaknesses on this team, I feel like, when you just look at it. Like, you're just like, how do you not just go around the edge and get like 6 sacks in this game? How do you not man up on these receivers and just totally shut them down? Like, defensively, they have... I mean, I guess the edges are hurt more than anything. Like, Karl Aftis has been good, but if he doesn't play, it's like, you shouldn't have to worry too much about Mike Dana coming off that one edge. Like, it is surprising to me, looking through this roster, that they are this good.
And it's because of
Mahomes and Kelce.
Patrick Mahomes, Kelce, and then Andy Reid as well.
Oh, and Chris Jones helps too.
Yeah.
The
Well,
other
and
thing-
their defense actually is getting really. I mean, Baldy mentioned the corners; they are getting some young guys.
And the
playing really
linebackers
well.
are nice. But I was talking to somebody about Chris Jones, and you must have. I mean, you definitely played him. But what I heard was basically like he's really good when he wants to be, but he'll take some plays off, and you just kind of don't want to piss him off. Is that at all what you remember?
Well,
I guess he was on the other side, but like they would have been the conversations. Yeah.
No, but I think he is one of those guys that like when he wants to dominate you, he can. I don't think there's anything stopping him besides his own will and want to. So I don't know if he takes plays off or anything like that, but I do think just like Aaron Donald, if he gets a one-on-one and he wants to win, he's gonna win.
Huh.
So
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's going to be tough. But speaking of the pass rush, let's get to our final whiteboard of the game here. And after all this bickering, we all just need a little 420 reset here. Y'all need to calm down a little bit, but not the Broncos. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper, number 42 and number 0.
Wow.
They need to have the
We
games
gotta
of their
make the
lives
shirt.
here.
If they go out there, they combine for like 5 sacks. Broncos win this game. We gotta make like a 420 shirt to commemorate.
There we go.
it.
What about 4.5 sacks?
4.2
Because it's close.
sacks.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's close. Yeah.
Like you got to split a sack 5 ways.
Yep. And speaking of that number,
I don't know about that.
Nick Bonito has 4.5 sacks over the past 2 games, so he's capable of having another big time game. But Patrick Mahomes has diced up the Broncos. Even last year, he had 320 passing yards and 350 passing yards in their 2 games. Only 40 to Travis Kelce, only 70 to Travis Kelce in those 2 games. These receivers aren't going to beat you. What is going to beat you is Patrick Mahomes just making plays. And how does he make plays the most? It's by just buying time in the back, running around, doing crazy things. If he has time, well, then he is going to beat you through the passing game, not these receivers. If you get pass rush on him quick, especially just with 4-man pressure, 5-man pressure, 3-man pressures, then that's how you can stay in this game. And because these receivers aren't going to catch a ball, shouldn't, I should say, catch a ball 5 yards downfield and take it to the house. They shouldn't be able to. They're not Tyreek Hill. So if you get pressure with Jonathan Cooper, with Baron Browning, that gives you a chance to contain Mahomes.
And to me, this is the big game.
chance.
The big game for Nick Bonito. Like, we haven't talked about him, or I guess I've only been on once, but we haven't talked about him nearly enough. Like, there's a chance that the Broncos just found a stud pass rusher. Like, he looks insane. Because he's at 5.5 sacks already this season.
6th most in the NFL.
6th most in the NFL. So Draymond was the Broncos sack leader last year with 6.5. There's a chance that he leaves this game with more sacks than any Bronco had all last season. Like, who knows? Maybe this is just small sample size. He got hot. Maybe he can keep this up and the Broncos actually have a stud on the edge, which would be awesome. And I know somebody pointed out on Twitter, I forget who it was. It was like good research. Like the Broncos pressure rate is like the lowest in the NFL. The sacks they've been getting are probably unsustainable because of that. The thing is, Nick Bonito converts pressures into sacks at an insane rate because he's just so fast. Like if he gets into the backfield, he's getting the quarterback down. Like I guess he does miss a couple tackles, but that we won't get into that. Against Patrick Mahomes, the fact that he's so fast should negate some of Mahomes' kind of like run around, spin back the other way type stuff. Like the closing speed should play up there. And so that's why, to me, especially like what I said about those tackles, I'm not impressed. This could be a big game for Nick Bonito. And if he's only 2.5 sacks off the NFL lead. Like there's a world in which he's tied for the NFL lead after Sunday. Because TJ Watt's not playing this week, right?
I believe the Steelers have this week off.
Exactly. So
that's a recipe for the Broncos to win 2.5 sacks from Nick
Bonito. I wouldn't go that far, but
to keep it within the spread.
Yeah, I mean, spread's very much in play. Like I wouldn't be surprised at all if they cover.
Yeah, here's got something to say. Do you think his mic's on?
No.
Talking about 420. Nothing to do with Nick Bonito.
Oh.
DNVR just dropped their new weed line with Kind Love, by the way.
Breaking news.
Big day for the company. We've grown up.
Like we actually
Of
have
course
our
you
own
hear-
weed. Like we have a
Oh.
video. We did the whole shebang. It's really cool.
Wow.
You can get pre-roll joints at Kind Love right now. You know, if you're in Colorado, it's a great time to indulge.
I wonder how we picked Brendan for this. Crazy decision.
And you hear behind the mic for this one?
Wow.
Immaculate
you guys
vibes.
you guys weren't aware, and I was. So I
Called
wanted to make
Immaculate
sure.
Vibes Premium Cannabis, available at Kind Love, and it is DNVR's own. Literally just dropped 8 minutes ago. So you hear, thanks for bringing that up. And speaking of dropping things, let's drop our parting shots right now. Can you believe it? We're already to the Broncos weekend, I guess, which
We
is
need
just wild. We
Get
need
away
it.
from last week as quickly as possible.
You know what we're at? We're at the Weekend, especially here at DNVR with some immaculate vibes, some
Immaculate.
parting shots presented by Breckenridge Distillery, where we leave you with our game predictions and Colorado's favorite bourbon whiskey. Check them out at BreckenridgeDistillery.com. Let's get into our game picks, not just Broncos, but let's hand out our entire AFC West picks.
Did we not do the video, Todd?
Oh, we're about to. We're about
Sorry.
to. We're about to.
It's just my favorite part of the week because he gets so shy about it.
Oh, Hank, you messed it up.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
messed
people
up.
know it's coming. I'm sorry.
Last week we played it, and Henry was like, "Yeah, I didn't enjoy it as much." And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, I didn't get to see Todd be so uncomfortable
Yeah,
when
it's
I
so
was going on." I'm
It's
like,
the best
"Wow,
part.
That's messed
Gets
up.
you ready for the weed camp.
But you know what? We'll give Todd a break for right now.
Okay,
Let's get
okay.
into our
Sorry,
AFC
I'm just
West
excited.
picks, and then we'll hit that before the Broncos picks. Let's go around the AFC West and dish out these picks. We have 2 of the 3 AFC West games in primetime this week. We got Thursday night football, obviously Broncos Chiefs, and then Monday night football, Cowboys Chargers, the one that apparently the country does not care about, rightfully so, the one that's not on primetime. Patriots playing the Raiders in Las Vegas. This is a bad game that definitely should not be on primetime. So they got that right.
You got the Belichick Josh Daniels thing.
Wow, I did
It's
not
gonna
even
be
think
gritty.
about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
What I thought of was you have the Patriots offense, which is averaging 1.5 points per game in their last 2
Craziness.
games. How about that? Just insane. And not only that, they're averaging 10 points per game this entire season.
Yeah.
We thought the Broncos were bad, averaging 16 points per game last year.
What's worse? Broncos defense, Patriots offense.
Broncos are giving up 35 points per game.
Should be right around there.
I mean, they're both awful.
They are.
Now, I guess I'd rather watch this Broncos team than the Patriots, so
Yeah, I would say-
because it's a little more interesting. But
Yeah.
so I guess I'd take the Broncos. But in terms of like how it stacks up, I don't know.
Yeah. I guess average is probably like 22 a game.
Yeah.
So the Broncos be like 13 over. They're like 12. So, I mean, it is close.
Yeah.
I think Patriots offense is worse.
The offense is so bad.
think so,
Well,
too.
I guess we'll find out.
In fact, in 236 games that I think that's right. That Tom Brady played at Foxborough. He had only lost one by 30 points or more. Mac Jones has now done it twice in the past 2 weeks, which is just wild. So this game, who you guys picking? The Raiders are favored in this game.
Real quick, before you guys pick, this is your guys' records.
Oh, yes. Let's pull up the records here. Got to be honest, Ryan's winning 13-4 record. Todd, you pulled ahead into second place last week, 10-7. Wow. Maybe you need more Barbados trips. Just clears that mind out. And then Alexis and I still winning records, so I'll take it, 9-8. And then Henry sitting in the basement, 7-10.
I said it in the chat. Like I'm a reporter. I'm not a psychic.
Well, same with us. None of us are psychics.
Yeah, well,
You're just
I'm
bad
not so
at guessing.
sure. You're doing pretty well. Yeah, I'm a bad guesser too. I'm bad at a bunch of things.
No, Henry, no, you're not. Keep your head high.
I'm good at a bunch of things too. There's just a lot of things out there.
Well, maybe don't get too high on yourself, but I'm gonna keep you humble.
Oh, I bet 500.
Did you guys see the just really off topic, really quick? The speculation that Robert Saleh whispered in Sean Payton's ear at the halftime or at the end of game handshake. Stay humble.
It said stay hungry.
Stay hungry?
Oh, sorry. Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Yeah. See, some people thought it was stay healthy. Some people thought it was stay humble.
If he had said stay humble, Sean would have punched him in the face right there. No coach is saying stay humble to another coach after a game. That's ridiculous. That's even less likely than the Broncos winning this game.
Yeah, I'm probably there with you. But I mean, maybe
it would be fun. Yeah, it'd be fun.
So much fun. Okay, let's get into this game.
One last thing, because I know Zach forgot about this. We have a watch party tomorrow. We're doing a giveaway.
Wait, no. I mentioned this earlier. Were you not paying attention? You hear?
Probably not.
You weren't paying attention to our show that you produce, and then you take a shot at me, and you're wrong.
Wow.
I am wrong a lot.
It's a shame nobody probably heard
That's
it.
a flag. That's a flag. You got
That's
a flag.
No, I'm the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no flags for me.
Okay.
Well, if you were listening to the podcast, you would actually know that the Chiefs do get flags called on them, as Henry pointed out.
It's just a shame he's going to be bailed out for all this because there's no way his mic was on. Nobody even heard.
It's very true. It's a good point. So, yes, come down to the bar tomorrow for the watch party. As I've mentioned already, make sure you're listening to this. Use that, or just come by. We're giving away a Pat Surtain jersey.
Did I see something like a $20? It's in the $20 beer something. And it's like a lot of beer for $20.
Yeah. Maybe
so I'm excited about that.
Bucket, a tower.
Something like that. I just saw $20.
$20 for domestic beers. Towers.
A
tower.
Towers like, is that 88 ounces? 100 ounces?
It's a lot.
It's a lot of beer for $20.
Yeah.
I will be
beard up.
I'll be beard up.
I'll
be beard up.
You have to be on the post game because the whole reason you're not on the post game is so you can write the story.
No, it's because we have too many people.
Yeah, here's being
because we're only allowed to have 3.
He's telling you what to do.
Yeah.
How to act. How to work.
Nobody heard.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's jump.
Drop a Y in the comment if you heard it.
Also, actually, make sure to stay tuned. 5:30, I think, is when we're dropping our pregame show. It's going to be awesome, so stay tuned to that YouTube channel. That's exclusively on YouTube, 5:30 DNVR Sports YouTube. All right, let's get into these picks. Patriots, Raiders. Todd, you hate the Raiders.
I know, but the Patriots are
them?
so trash.
Speaking
know
of,
what?
did you hate the Patriots as well?
No.
When you were a player?
No, I don't think I lost to the Patriots. So.
I love it.
Can't hate nobody you never beat. It wasn't a rivalry. You can't be a rivalry if you don't lose.
I love it. Yeah, like Frank Clark says.
I'm actually going to pick the Patriots. I feel like if this is a game that Bill Belichick has control over, I think he can get Josh McDaniels to he'll know the game plan, kind of figure it out. Mac Jones hopefully won't have to do much. They score 2 points. Hopefully they win the game.
Exactly. I'm right there with you. I think like if Bill Belichick has any.
Oh wait, you're picking him. Let me.
Damn it. Yeah, I mean, like if Bill Belichick has anything left in the tank in New England, like this is the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's beating this Raiders team that's like it's such a simple team. It feels like you got Devontae Adams, you've got Josh Jacobs. Like it isn't like great. They just have a couple studs. Max Crosby, you know. It's not a tough game plan. The Raiders probably have more talent, but you've got Bill Belichick going up against Josh McDaniels. I'm taking Belichick in that. If he loses this one, then like he's just he might just kind of be done.
Yeah, I feel like every week there's one crazy game nobody's expecting. I feel like this might be the one that Patriots like find a way to win.
Okay, not tomorrow.
Nah.
I love that. I love your reasoning, and honestly, I didn't even think about the Bill Belichick going up against Josh McDaniels angle, so that makes me concerned about this. But unfortunately, I've got to take the Raiders simply just with how bad the Patriots are on offense this week, or have been this year. And I have some bad news about the Raiders. They started 1-0. They lost 3 straight. Looked like they were a dumpster fire, just like the Broncos. They really shouldn't have beat the Packers. The Packers were just worse than the Raiders. I mean, that was an ugly Monday night game.
Yeah.
But they were able to beat the Packers. Then they have the awful Patriots this week. Then they have the Bears. Hopefully Justin Fields looks like he did against the Broncos and against the Commanders and can beat them. But the Patriots in just 2 weeks could be 4-3. Or I'm sorry, the Raiders could be 4-3, which would just be disgusting.
Absolutely.
So I'm picking the Raiders, and Ryan is picking the Raiders as well, and so is Alexis. I like this. We're split here.
Wow.
We're split on this game. Are we split on Cowboys Chargers here at Monday Night Football? Chargers, it's in Los Angeles. Chargers a 2-point favorite.
I've got the Cowboys. You know, it's been tough with them. They were one of my like short list Super Bowl picks. Like I had 2 real picks for Super Bowl that I bet on, was them and the Bengals. So maybe I'm just an idiot, but I do think that with that defense and with the talent that they have on offense, they should be a really good team. Meanwhile, the Chargers are like the Cowboys light in my mind. Like the Cowboys without defense, maybe is just the way you put it. And I know Cowboys had that terrible loss last week to 49ers, but 49ers are really good. They had the terrible loss to Cardinals. They're also going against the Chargers. It's basically a home game for them. Like there's so many Cowboys everywhere. And the Cowboys fans in Los Angeles are the Cowboys fans that don't get to go to many games. So it's going to be loud. It's going to be fired up. I've got the Cowboys.
They just come to training camp every year and they pack it out.
Exactly.
So there'll be a lot of Cowboys fans. I'm actually taking the Cowboys too. I feel like the Chargers are going to charge. I made a mistake picking them once. So I'm not going to do it.
You're learning from
So
your
I'm
mistakes.
going with the Cowboys.
And you guys know Ryan will never pick the Chargers, so he's picking the Cowboys as well. To me, this game is an awesome game because there's tons of star power on both sides. And it's going to be an exciting game. And it's also the matchup of the 2 biggest fraud teams in the NFL.
Wow.
Like, there's so much talent on both teams. Both teams are Super Bowl picks at the beginning of the season. Some people were saying Dak Prescott's going to be an MVP. A lot of people were saying Justin Herbert's going to be an MVP. And sure, both teams probably still make the playoffs, but like they're just not as good as anyone thinks for like a 5th straight year or something. I just think the Cowboys are even bigger frauds.
The thing is, the Cowboys have been a great regular season team. Chiefs are the only team in the league that has more wins in the regular season the last 2 years. It's just you blow a couple playoff games, and I mean, you blow every playoff game since like 1994 or whatever. There is that part, but I don't worry about the Cowboys in regular season. The Chargers, on the other hand, they charger in the regular season. The Cowboys just flop in the playoffs.
I've got a counter to you, though.
Okay.
You just said that 2 of their past 3 games, they've had massive disappointments.
They're due. They're going to win 10 or 12 games at least. Like, that's just what they do. The Chargers, they top out at 10.
Give me the Chargers. This is also a good game for me to pick up a game on Todd, a game on Ryan. So I'm going to do that. And Alexis is also picking the Chargers. So we're split again on this game. That means some people have to be choosing
I think
the Broncos
RK
to
take
beat the
the
Chiefs, right?
RK took the what? The Cowboys.
Yeah, thank you, Todd. RK would never choose the Cowboys. That would have been Yahir's 2nd, 3rd time messing up these picks.
And I'll keep doing it. Trust me, I'm not going to stop.
You guys start getting
anytime
some
soon.
reps in. You better be in here early tomorrow getting some reps in with these.
Yeah, seriously. On a early day off, you got to get those reps in. Okay, let's head into our Broncos picks. And Todd, fire us up. Oh, Yahir's slow again. Wow.
Too quick.
Fucking great! That's still fucking great right here, baby! Yeah! Hey, we gotta cross the line! It's time to whoop their ass! Yeah. It's time to whoop their ass! Let's bring it to these boys now! Let's go, y'all! It's all out! Let's go to one! Let's go to one! Broncos on 3! 1, 2, 3! Broncos!
I love it. Let's go. And Todd, that was an Arrowhead. You got the guys fired up. And I actually think that was a close game.
It was a close
one of the
one.
closer ones. Is the Todd fire up going to work tomorrow? Are the Broncos coming home with this thing?
I mean, if we played that for him, maybe. I don't know. But in my mind, I say the Chiefs are definitely going to win this game. It's going to be like 34-17.
Oh,
Let's do that.
34-17. And we're Todd. Wow.
Other way.
Yeah, see, he's trying to think Cyril Broncos blowout and make you seem silly here, Todd. The Broncos are a 10.5 point dog.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the Chiefs cover in this line, and you've pretty much nailed Vegas's over-under. I think they've got it set now at 48. It was initially set at 50. I think it's fell to 48. So they're thinking that you're not too far off on that, Todd. Henry?
I'm going 38-20. I mean, again, no, I don't have the Broncos winning it here. I just can't see how Patrick Mahomes doesn't put up a bunch of points. And based on what we've seen from the offense, it's been good. It struggles. It's good. It struggles. Like they're going to score points, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Again, game isn't played in my head. They get to go out there and play. Like, it doesn't matter what any of us think. I'm really excited for this game, but how do you not pick a blowout here?
So, Henry, what happened from yesterday? Because I asked for your picks yesterday when I thought you weren't going to be on the pod, and you had 48-30. Now you have
48-30 is what I meant. I forgot the numbers. Thank you. I know. I was trying to think like 38. How would I get to that?
Man,
48-20. There we go.
48-20. Yeah, geez, you're all over the place. 48
I'm
points.
not a psychic.
That's
That
a lot of points.
makes a lot of sense because Patrick Mahomes going up against the worst defense in the NFL in nearly like every statistical category. But man, 48 points is so embarrassing, especially when you've already given up a 70-point game, and now you're almost giving up two 50-point games.
That's 30 here.
20 at the end.
You switched it again. Here, that one's not on you. I'll make that one on Henry.
Oh.
I think that this is that the Chiefs are going to get 40, though. I think they're going to put up 40 points. We've seen it feels like these games have either been so close where it feels like the Broncos actually might end the streak, or the Chiefs just blow them out. And it seems like you get one of those a year, where one of them's close, the other one is an absolute blowout. And if it sets up for one of these to be a blowout in the next 3 weeks that the Broncos have against the Chiefs, it would be this one to be the blowout. So give me Chiefs 40, Broncos 20, unfortunately here. And then I'll give you Ryan and Alexis's picks too. Ryan has a blowout, 35-21. Is that a blowout?
Yeah, it's a blowout.
15 points or 14 points?
I think that counts. I think
21.
we're kind of skewed
21
right
skunk. I think if you lose by more than 21, I think
21
it's
is
a blowout.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't even have a blowout. I like that 20-point loss, not a blowout. And then
40-20.
Alexis is the only person here that's choosing the Broncos
Alexis.
to cover the spread. She has 34-24. Chiefs are going to win, but the Broncos cover by half a point.
Sure.
So let's say it's a blowout. Let's say it's 21 points or more. How are we feeling tomorrow night?
Oh, horrible.
I think we feel the same. I think we're just right where we're at.
Still horrible.
We don't have to feel like we just kind of feel. I mean, however we're feeling right now is probably how it's going to be.
It's
like,
true. It's not
it
going
is
to
what it
hurt, I
is.
guess.
No, it won't hurt.
Like it's
won't
like
hurt.
because how could it again? Like how do you expect it? Like it'll be great if they win. Like if they win, that would be an insane feeling. The streak being over.
Yep.
I can't even imagine a world like they were. Somebody put out a tweet. It's some like radio station in Kansas City. White Claws didn't exist the last time the Broncos beat the Chiefs.
My gosh.
They had like a whole list, but White Claws, they didn't exist. Like
That's wild. It's also sucks that they were able to do that now. Like the Chiefs are able to draw on things that seem crazy.
Bro, yeah, it's ridiculous. But imagine going into next offseason not like saying, well, you got 2 losses against the Chiefs. Like you just don't have to circle those anymore. Like this is one of the things that you had on the table. That's why to me this is the Super Bowl. And it's a Super Bowl because you really blew the beginning of the season. Like your Super Bowl could have been like a playoff game or a game to game in the playoffs. But now here you are, and this becomes, to me, like, I guess tied is the biggest game on schedule because you play them again. But if they win this game, it's going to be I'm gonna be partying at least. I'm gonna be having the time of my life.
I don't think I would be as over the moon.
Oh yeah, fans will hate it.
As
Fans want him to
you,
lose. Fans want Caleb Williams. But
and
it's a huge win though.
It's not even that. It would
Oh,
just
really?
be like so confusing. I mean, it would be like happy, but also just confusing.
how?
Like,
How?
yeah, like what happened the past 4 weeks?
Yeah.
How would be the right reaction?
And it would really mess with people's emotions because then people would be, the conversation would be,
Oh yeah.
should beat the Packers at home now. They just beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead on a short week. Can't they beat them? And can't they be 4-4 going into the bye? And then you're coming off the bye. Why can't you beat the Bills? So that would just be tough. I agree with you though, Todd. If it's a blowout, that's what we're all expecting.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna feel much different. What if they do cover the spread but still lose? So keep it within 10.
I don't care. A loss is a loss. They can lose by 50. They can lose. I mean, how much you lose
That Miami loss didn't hurt a little more? Wasn't
that
a little
did.
more embarrassing?
Because that's kind of when you
You
realize
said lose by 50. They lost by 50 to Miami.
But that already happened. I mean, like to me,
Okay.
this season's going nowhere. Like you're winning what 2, 3, 4 games, whatever it is. Like if they lose this one close, I'm not. It doesn't change what I think of the team. Probably unless like maybe they hold Pacheco to like 10 rushing yards and like, well, wait, But just going off score, there's nothing that really changes to me. Either you win the game or you don't, in my book. And they won't.
Yeah,
They won't.
Same with me. They've done enough to kind of like ingrain in my brain like who they are as a team right now.
Yeah.
And like if they had ups and downs and some good games and some bad games, some games they perform well, some games they, you know what I'm saying? But it's all kind of been similar performances, similar expectations. And so if they were just to lose by, let's just say 4, I'd be like, oh.
I wonder if this is the most that a team has ever been cheered against in a game. That like nobody wants them to win, because you just think of all the factors at play. First of all, I think like at least half of the fans of Broncos fans don't want them to win. They just want the draft pick. So like they're not on that side. I think that you look at other teams that have like potential number 1 pick, they're saying like, I guess they would probably want the Broncos to win. But then you have like all the Chiefs fans that now include every Taylor Swift fan. So you have all of like Taylor Swift coming in. It's already the Chiefs who are like the popular team right now because they win so much. Like nobody thinks they're going to win on top of it. And so you have all the like the TV people saying like, oh, they're horrible. Like they're going to lose by 30 and they're going to be defending their picks. Like literally nobody is on the Broncos side in this one. It's a real Broncos against the world situation.
I don't think so. I think they're the 6 teams that also have 1 win, and I guess Panthers don't care since they don't have their pick. They're all rooting for the Broncos to win, they're all rooting for the Broncos to win. So I think the rest of the NFL is hoping for the Broncos to win, because then all the other powerhouses, playoff teams, AFC West teams want the Chiefs to lose. So I actually disagree, except for the Taylor Swift fans.
They do have a lot of Taylor Swift fans.
Yeah. Will she be there? What's your guess?
Yeah, definitely.
Primetime game.
Yeah, Thursday night.
I don't want to come watch the Broncos.
But she's not. I mean, she's not there for the Broncos.
Like, what's their record? Oh, hell no.
Because the Jets were way better.
Oh my goodness! Like, if I guess we don't know for sure that Taylor Swift is like a new football fan, but if somebody were to be trying to explain, like, okay, here's what the Broncos are, I don't even know how you do it.
So this what I've
Like,
heard
it'd just
about.
be disgusting.
So according to our resident Taylor Swift fan, Susie Hunter, that she is a diehard Eagles fan because she is from Philadelphia.
Yeah, but now
Philadelphia?
you really can't be.
Shouldn't she be from like a country place?
She did
She'd be
move
from, like,
to
Kentucky.
Tennessee. Yeah.
Oh, she moved
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you moved to Nashville. A real crazy.
So
yeah.
you holding on to your Montana roots?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What are
from
you doing
Montana.
in Denver if you're from Montana?
Yeah, go back.
Well, I don't claim.
Like, be careful.
I don't claim to be like a
Just
city,
the Montana
a city
to Henry
person.
here.
You know, she's like a country singer from Philadelphia.
Yeah, so you hate
You know,
her
it
now.
does. I don't.
You
I
gotta
don't
hate
care.
her now.
I don't.
for,
have,
for tomorrow's game.
there's no room for hate.
Wow, okay,
Nathaniel Hackett. Yeah, that's it.
And on
I'm
that
over the
note,
hate.
we're going to get out of here. How about that 90-minute show for you? We're not going to get out of here because we're going to hit one super chat really quick. Coming in from the Blind Swordsman says, as Mark Schlereth said on Monday, Mike Shanahan would not have had Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton. Get rid of them if they are going to give poor effort. I don't care if it's a short week. See ya, in my opinion. I think tomorrow we're going to see, I think tomorrow could be telling for a lot of these guys in terms of how Sean Payton moves forward with them. And again, I think if there's no off the field or on the field issues, I don't think they really make any big moves until probably the trade deadline. But if you are seeing something like that, then the Broncos clearly aren't afraid to move on from guys like they did with Randy Gregory last week.
I don't see the no effort thing. I keep hearing people talk about it. I don't see it. I see
I
Jerry
missed it
Jeudy
too.
catching passes when he gets targets, and I see Courtland getting 2 targets and 1 catch. Like, I don't see a lack of effort there. I just see a lack of utilization of these 2 players.
So people were saying that there was a third down where Courtland was walking on the field. And going back through the game, I didn't see it, but I must have just been looking in a direction. Like, it must have been on the TV broadcast or something. But I've thought kind of the same thing. It's like, I don't see that. I know Courtland hasn't been as good of a blocker as you'd expect, but I don't know if that's. I haven't looked at it and thought oh, he's not trying.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing I can think of.
Have you had teammates get yanked off the field for clear lack of effort?
Yeah, I've seen that before,
Yeah.
and I know what it looks like, but
Yeah.
I can't say that
Yeah.
I've seen it from there.
I agree.
Yeah. Do you think it needs to happen if someone is giving that lack of effort?
For
regardless
sure.
of what side of the ball.
For sure. If you're not showing effort out there, they need you. You need to get off the field because no matter how good you are, the effort you're giving is going to hurt us more. It's going to help us. So, and it's going to look bad to the young guys, and young guys feel like they could do it if they're upset. Like, nah, you got to get out of here.
We might
Yeah.
need to get some cigars or something in case the Broncos win.
Just
I
in
have
case.
Yeah.
a pack from Puerto Rico that I brought back from Maine.
Oh,
still.
hell yeah.
Wow.
So Todd and Hank, you guys are Todd and Zach, you guys are more than welcome to get it.
Oh my god, the cigars are my idea. If the Broncos win, we gotta we're not. I was when the Avs won the cup, we weren't allowed to in here because
Yeah,
of the
there's
sprinklers.
literally a sprinkler right on top of us.
I don't mind getting all wet. I'll say that. If that's the
Whoa there.
Oh my goodness.
point is, we might need some cigars or something. We got to find a way to celebrate if they win this game.
So you're getting 100 ounces of beer. You're having cigars. This is quite a night for Henry.
Yeah, I'm writing the story of the first quarter.
Make sure to read
the weekend, you already
DNVR.com.
Yeah, it's
to
gonna be a
see
good
what
one.
that article is going to look like. And we're out of here. Stay tuned to the pregame show, the countdown at 5:30 p.m. tomorrow. We're not going to be doing a show at 11 because we've got the game tomorrow. And then, of course, we're going to have a post-game show, which is going to be on podcast form as well as on YouTube. So right when the game ends, stay tuned to DNVR's YouTube page. Thank you all so much for rolling with us today. Hit us with a thumbs up on the way out. We really appreciate y'all. And let's enjoy this game, whatever it may be. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.